Welcome to this webinar for the State Route 316 Planning Study. The Georgia Department of Transportation is overseeing the study, during which it is continuously seeking feedback from numerous stakeholders and community members who travel, live, and work along this critical vehicle and truck thoroughfare. The goal of this webinar is to provide an overview of the study, review initial analysis findings, and highlight ways to participate in the process ahead of the study's final recommendations, which are expected in the fall of 2024. State Route 316 is a major east-west transportation artery and one of Georgia's fastest-growing corridors, but it's also known for high crash rates and congestion. The State Route 316 planning study is examining State Route 316 holistically to identify, analyze, and put forward recommended potential improvements to benefit mobility and safety along a 40-mile section of State Route 316 from Interstate 85 in Gwinnett County to State Route 10 in Oconee County. These potential improvements are in addition to the ongoing State Route 316 reconstruction projects, which are transforming the corridor into more of a free-flow facility. Like the reconstruction projects, the study aims to reduce the severity and frequency of crashes, reduce congestion and improve mobility, and accommodate growth and economic development. The purpose of the State Route 316 planning study is not to duplicate the efforts of the reconstruction projects. Rather, the study is focusing on additional improvement needs along the corridor, with a particular focus on intermediate and long-range planned projects. The study began in mid-2022, and it is expected to conclude in the fall of 2024, although this schedule is subject to change. As part of the study, GDOT is conducting an origin destination or OD analysis, analyzing existing and future traffic growth and land use data, and evaluating alternatives and providing recommendations. These recommendations will be detailed in the study's final report. As noted on this timeline, GDOT is also conducting two phases of stakeholder and public engagement. When the study began, GDOT identified nearly 400 stakeholders who represent or have a vested interest in the State Route 316 corridor. GDOT has met with a cross-section of these stakeholders. It also hosted several in-person public meetings to provide information and gather feedback to incorporate to the greatest extent possible into the study's final recommendations. GDOT conducted its first phase of stakeholder and public outreach in the spring and summer of 2023. For stakeholders, GDOT conducted 4 virtual meetings with city, county, and business leaders, and 1 in-person meeting with a cross-section of community members. All told, we hosted more than 4 dozen stakeholders. For the general public, we conducted 3 in-person meetings in Gwinnett, Barrow, and Oconee counties. A total of 259 residents and 8 elected officials attended these meetings. The general themes of the feedback received included concerns over safety, traffic congestion, and accessibility, both to and from businesses and homes. As a result of that feedback and our own analysis, the study has prepared initial findings centered around 2 themes: address the remaining at-grade or ground level access points, and implement additional capacity adding and operational improvements to the arterials intersecting State Route 316. The remaining at-grade access point improvements identified in this study are those not currently programmed as part of the ongoing State Route 316 reconstruction projects. Again, these are all potential improvements under consideration. Nothing has been set in stone. You can learn more about the study by visiting the study's website. Just scan the QR code at the top of this slide for details. In addition to the stakeholder and public engagement meetings, GDOT conducted a survey to obtain additional feedback about potential improvements along the corridor. The survey ran from March 2023 to June 2023. We included a link to the survey on the study website, and we provided print versions of the survey upon request at the public meetings. We had a total of 313 survey respondents. As this slide shows, we had some general key takeaways, mostly feedback related to easing congestion, adding capacity, improving safety, and reducing noise, all of which were considered and incorporated to the greatest extent possible into the study's analysis. The second phase of stakeholder and public engagement began in March 2024, and a second survey has been posted to the project website. The survey is open for stakeholder and public feedback until May 10, 2024. As previously noted, the State Route 316 planning study is separate from, but concurrent with, a series of State Route 316 reconstruction projects. As this slide shows, several of these reconstruction projects have already been completed. At State Route 81 Loganville Highway, Harbins Road, and State Route 53 Hog Mountain Road. These projects are already easing congestion and improving safety along the corridor. As an example, at the recently constructed State Route 81 Loganville Highway interchange, the speed during the PM or late afternoon hour has increased from 45 miles per hour in 2018 to 52 miles per hour in 2021. That means the overall flow of traffic has improved at this new interchange along State Route 316. In addition, we've seen a reduction in annual crashes from 106 in 2018 to 55 in 2021. As this slide also shows, we have a project under construction at State Route 11, Christmas Avenue, near the town of Bethlehem, and we expect to see similar improvements once completed. As mentioned, the State Route 316 reconstruction projects aim to transform the corridor into more of a free-flow facility. Think of a free-flowing highway versus a roadway with traffic lights. $858 million is currently being invested within the corridor, a price tag that reflects a strong commitment to improve safety and mobility along State Route 316. Shown on your screen are the reconstruction projects that are programmed for construction through 2025. The word programmed means that the projects are funded and will start by that date. Once the reconstruction projects are completed, our analysis shows an estimated reduction of 212 crashes annually, or 11% in 2050 along the entire corridor. The study is considering 4 types of improvements along State Route 316 for the remaining at-grade access points. We shared these types of improvements with stakeholders and the public when we met in 2023. This slide describes not only the improvement type, but also the rationale for selecting an improvement type at a particular at-grade access point. Interchanges, for instance, should be considered in areas in which we see high traffic arterials and major development at a location. Grade separations are appropriate in areas in which it is important to facilitate movement across State Route 316. Right in, right out access should be considered in areas in which it is important to maintain some level of access to and from State Route 316. For instance, access would be important to support potential economic development next to State Route 316. Finally, traffic reroutes protect residential neighborhoods and low traffic rural areas from high-speed traffic on State Route 316. As State Route 316 transforms more into a free-flow facility, having uncontrolled intersections along State Route 316 to low-volume residential neighborhoods can create potentially unsafe conditions. Traffic reroutes will provide access to State Route 316 at other locations. Additional local road improvements may be necessary to facilitate a traffic reroute. Each type of improvement has trade-offs, including accessibility, property impacts, safety, and cost. As we share our potential findings for each of the remaining at-grade access points during this webinar, keep these trade-offs in mind. The current State Route 316 reconstruction projects address most of the existing high-traffic, high-congestion crossings. In general, the remaining at-grade access points have lower traffic and connect more rural roads and residential neighborhoods. We believe the focus of these remaining crossings should be to complete the transition of State Route 316 into more of a free-flow facility. We should eliminate unsafe left turn movements to and from State Route 316 while maintaining some level of access to or across State Route 316 in areas in which future development is planned. The rationales we discussed on the previous slide informed our selection of the recommended improvement types. Addressing the remaining at-grade access points is important. In addition, improvements to the arterials that cross and connect to State Route 316 are also important based on the study's analysis, as well as the feedback we received from stakeholders and the public. Our initial analysis findings identified arterials crossing State Route 316 for potential widening. We have also identified intersections at high congestion locations for potential operational improvements. This slide shows 12 existing crossings that provide some form of at-grade access to and from State Route 316. Unlike the program projects scheduled for construction by 2025, these projects are not fully funded. The study's initial analysis findings address these crossings. Based on the rationales previously discussed, we propose one location for an interchange, two locations for grade separations, 5 locations for right in, right out, and 3 locations for traffic reroute. The State Route 316 crossing with Athens Perimeter is currently a partial interchange. We propose upgrading this interchange so that movements would occur at grade. These are preliminary findings. As such, they may be refined based on stakeholder and public feedback, as well as more detailed engineering studies. Initial findings show an overall reduction in delay of 38% during the AM peak period in year 2050 by implementing these access point improvements. Similarly, there's an average crash reduction of 50% when removing left turn movements, which is also an important benefit of these improvements. In Gwinnett County, we propose creating a traffic reroute at Oak Valley Road. An access road that runs parallel to State Route 316 would be constructed that would connect Oak Valley Road to Harbins Road. Traffic on State Route 316 currently travels at high speeds at this location with the completion of the Harbins Road interchange. Constructing the access road will provide safer connections for the neighborhoods off Oak Valley Road to access State Route 316 at other locations. In addition, we propose an interchange on Williams Farm Drive. The new interchange would be near the Gwinnett and Barrow County line to accommodate the potential new Rowan development, a large scientific and technological research park. In the interim, we propose closing access between Williams Farm Drive and State Route 316 and constructing local roadway improvements that will connect Williams Farm Drive to Drowning Creek Road. This would provide safer connections for the neighborhoods off Williams Farm Drive to access State Route 316 at other locations. We propose grade separating Drowning Creek Road from State Route 316. There is currently a traffic signal at this location. This signal provides interim access to the Rowan development, and we anticipate the signal would provide interim access to Williams Farm Drive. Once an interchange is constructed at Williams Farm Drive, Drowning Creek Road would be grade separated. The grade separation would not occur until the Williams Farm Drive interchange is constructed. Access to and from Drowning Creek Road to and from State Route 316 will occur through the Williams Farm Drive interchange. The grade separation would facilitate both pedestrian and vehicle movements across State Route 316 as the Rowan site develops. In Barrow County, we propose a grade separation at Harry McCarty Road. This would provide an additional location for traffic to cross State Route 316. We understand additional operational improvements are needed near State Route 81, Harry McCarty Road, and State Route 11. We propose a system of frontage roads, or local parallel roads, at Harrison Mill Road, Smith Cemetery Road, and Jackson Trail Road. which would provide right-in, right-out access at these locations. During the course of this study, we have observed new developments at these crossings along State Route 316. The frontage road system and right-in, right-out access would maintain some connectivity between these new developments and State Route 316. We also propose converting Wall Road to right-in, right-out. Similar to Harrison Mill Road, Smith Cemetery Road, and Jackson Trail Road, we see new development along State Route 316 at Wall Road. Right-in, right-out conversion would maintain some level of access between State Route 316 and Wall Road for this new development. In Oconee County, we propose converting the McNutt Creek Road intersection to right-in, right-out. This would maintain some level of access at State Route 316 for potential new development, as well as access for the fire station nearby. We propose closing access with State Route 316 at Mars Hill Road and Julian Drive. Local roads currently connect these locations to nearby arterials that have access to State Route 316. Motorists on Mars Hill Road can access State Route 316 at State Route 10 Monroe Highway. Motorists on Julian Drive can access State Route 316 via State Route 10 Monroe Highway and a new interchange that is funded for construction at Jimmy Daniel Road. A traffic reroute at Mars Hill Road will reduce closely spaced conflict points on State Route 316 since McNutt Creek Road will be developed as a right-in, right-out location, and since the existing Monroe Highway interchange is nearby. There are local road connections that connect Mars Hill Road to adjacent access points. Julian Drive provides access to residential neighborhoods north of State Route 316. Once Jimmy Daniel Road is improved to an interchange, there will be more high-speed traffic on State Route 316. This will make turns to and from Julian Drive more difficult. A traffic reroute would protect the neighborhood from high-speed traffic on State Route 316 and provide access to State Route 316 at other nearby locations. Additional local road improvements can be considered at Julian Drive if needed to address the potential for cut-through traffic between residential neighborhoods. At Athens Perimeter, several movements between Athens Perimeter and State Route 316 occur at traffic signals. We propose improvements so that all movements at this location would occur using ramps. Beyond addressing the remaining at-grade access points on State Route 316, the study's analysis, combined with stakeholder and public feedback, shows that additional improvements are needed to arterials that cross State Route 316. We have identified 9 potential improvements that would add capacity and improve traffic operations on several arterials. The improvements consist of road widening, intersection improvements, and one additional interchange at State Route 316. The additional interchange is proposed at the Rowan development site. This interchange is in addition to the interchange at Williams Farm Drive. The second interchange at Rowan is dependent on the site reaching full build-out. These projects were identified by pinpointing crossing arterials and intersections operating at level of service F even after implementing the access point improvements. Level of service, or LOS, measures traffic and operational conditions of a roadway and is designated with a letter from A to F. Level of service A represents the best conditions, and F represents the worst. The proposed projects would improve the level of service at these locations. Based on our traffic models, we estimate that implementing these improvements would reduce traffic delay on State Route 316 corridor by 59% during the AM peak period in year 2050. To learn more about the study, please visit the study's web address or scan the QR code shown on your screen. If you're viewing this webinar in the spring of 2024, you'll find the study's second public survey on the website. Visit the website or scan the QR code shown on your screen to provide your feedback on the study's initial analysis findings. The survey is open until May 10, 2024. You can also provide feedback or ask questions by contacting us at the phone numbers and email address shown on your screen. Please give us 5 to 7 business days to respond to any inquiry. And be sure to like and follow us on social media. This concludes our webinar on the State Route 316 planning study. Thank you for your interest in this planning study conducted by the Georgia Department of Transportation.